Welcome to the cutting room in New York City. I'm Brad Zelinsky with BackStory Events, and tonight's program is going to be live streamed on guitarworld.com, where it will live on forever and ever. So behave yourself a little bit, just a little bit. We have some great upcoming events. This Friday, as a matter of fact, we're going to have the great blues R&B singer Lisa Mills with us with big band. It's going to be really cool if you're a fan of gospel and R&B and old school Memphis sound. Be sure to tune in if you're at home or come on down. But here tonight on our stage, we have one of the most successful rock bands of the past decade. You know them from hits like Low Life and All or Nothing and RX. But here they're going to talk to us about a brand new project, a new record that's coming out January 31st. Yes, let's hear it. The name of the record is intriguingly Say Nothing. Let's hope that they have something to tell us tonight. Let's bring out the guys in the band, Theory.
Hello. What do you got there? Onion rings?
Oh, they look delicious.
Don't forget to tip your server.
That's a sign of a true gentleman.
It is.
Big tipper.
So let's start out by talking about the title of the record. Given the sort of outspoken nature of a lot of the lyrics of the songs on this album, Say Nothing sounds a little ironic to me.
I think that's the whole point, is that nowadays everyone's always has to have something to say, right? Remember when I was a kid and my mom would, we all heard it. You don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So it seems like in 2020, even 2019, with social media, Twitter, there's a lot of cyberbullying, a lot of people going on and just having knee-jerk reactions to everything, being so triggered by something someone says. And I always felt like I just wouldn't say anything. I felt that was the best response to something negative, was just ignore them. So that's kind of where it came from, was say nothing. Wouldn't it be nice if we all just maybe said nothing and listened for a while? So I think that's kind of the whole basis of our records, or maybe just listen to it, see what you think.
Well, communication is definitely a theme throughout this record. People that aren't communicating or communicating in the wrong way or communicating too much, maybe. How do you guys handle it in your own personal life?
Yeah, I'm terrible at communicating. I'm the worst. People say that I'm stoic. Have you ever heard that before? Stoic is like someone that doesn't really say much, doesn't really wear their heart on their sleeve.
Emits power by its image.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm terrible at it.
That's an irony in itself. Like, you have obviously no problem pouring your guts out to people in an arena, but you're saying that, like, when it comes to one-on-one communication, that's complicated.
Yeah, it's easier when something is cathartic, when you can write it on a piece of paper or on your computer.
I feel like it's generational in this weird way that, we grew up with our parents never talking to us or each other, and it just was the generation, it was the time. And it's like it's changing now, people are starting to talk, and mental health is important. And I think that's good and that's exciting, but it's hard because, you grow up a certain way, you just don't learn how to properly communicate your feelings, and it's just how it is.
How does the rhythm section communicate within the band?
Don't let them talk. Don't ask them questions.
Anyways.
Whoa.
We say nothing.
It's all actions, man. It's all actions.
A couple of years ago, you guys released the huge monster single RX, and it was something quite different for you guys. It was more of a political statement. And I was wondering if the success of that song sort of opened up your idea of what a song could be or how to communicate with your audience.
Definitely. That was definitely the opening of the door leading us to new territory, I guess, for sure. You know, before I was always nervous to kind of delve into topics like that, opioid stuff. You know, I can't relate. I never had a drug problem, so how do I go about talking about it without sounding condescending or, you know. So sometimes you just got to go for it. And the song really worked because it helped a lot of people. And I think that's what we saw the most, is seeing fans come up to us and say, man, you wouldn't believe, like, you know, I got in this car accident and I was all of a sudden I was hooked on pain meds for 5 years or something. Then I heard your song and we're like, wow. We didn't know how to take it. I had no idea how to talk to the people. Like,
usually they're like, this is my bad girlfriend, wife.
that's right. Yeah.
And we're like,
That's true.
awesome.
Yeah. This is
It's
the bitch.
It's
that came
different now because I
back,
mean
you
now
know.
even with like history of violence now, it's the same thing. You get people coming up and saying, you know, thanks for talking about something that's hard to talk about, and it's almost like you get uncomfortable talking about it even in that situation because it's not something you're familiar talking about. But I think that's kind of the goal. It's to talk about things that aren't easy to talk about.
Yeah, for those of you that haven't heard the song, it's hard to believe. I think it's all over the radio, but their first single off the record is History of Violence. It's about domestic violence. You know, it seems like something that you guys really care about. You're donating $1 from your ticket proceeds towards organizations that help with domestic violence. Have you ever had a situation where you've had to encounter that in your personal life?
Not me personally, no. I don't know about you
Luckily,
guys.
no.
No.
So
once again,
what moved you to pick that topic to write about?
I'm not sure. You know, sometimes it's not a conscious thing. It's not something where I go, you know what I really want to talk about. And sometimes that's where the best ideas come from nowhere. It's some sort of, I don't know, it's an unconscious place. So most likely it came from something I saw on the news. David mentioned to me about a woman that had
Yeah, I live in Tennessee, and there was some woman that got locked up, and then they just recently released her. It was right around the time when you were writing that song, or had just sent it, and I was like, is this about this situation? And you're like, no, not necessarily. But
yeah, you asked me that, I'm like, no, but I heard of that. I'm like, I've heard of this. So you never know. It might have come from something I saw, and that's where kind of it came from, I guess.
I mean, are you getting response from your fans regarding this topic? Is it seem to be resonating with them?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So you recorded this new record in London. How did you
Yes.
guys end up recording it in England? Sounds like fun. I mean,
Yeah, we did the Wake Up Call in London as well with Martin Tereffi, who produced the record. And he has a studio in London, and so it just seemed... I know when we did Wake Up Call, he talked about maybe coming here to New York, and we could do our record here, and we were all kind of hip to the idea of going somewhere else, removing ourselves from our comfort zone, and so when we did Wake Up Call, it was very much out of our comfort zone. But then we went back and did Say Nothing with Martin again, and it was like we picked up right where we left off. It was a very, it felt almost like an easy record to make with Martin this time.
you know, I've been listening to you guys and your catalog, especially when I was preparing for this interview, and it's interesting to see your evolution as a band, and you know, especially with the last record, the arrangements started getting like a little bit more elaborate, maybe less guitar driven. I was wondering, did your producer have anything steering you in that direction, or is this something that came from you guys organically?
It definitely started organically. There's no doubt that we kind of knew what we wanted to do on this record, especially. So the arrangements were all kind of there. Martin kind of came in as almost like a fifth member, and there was definitely specific things that he would come in and he would have these amazing ideas. Especially more on this record, where I felt he was definitely more comfortable with us.
Yeah.
The first record, I think we were all kind of trying to work each other out. But this one, like, he would just jump right in. So he had some just amazing ideas, and we were just like, let's do it. Sounds great.
He's a big vibe guy too. Like he really wants us to keep playing until it feels right for him, and it's unusual for us. We've never really made records like that where we're all sitting there looking at each other playing these songs, and he's exciting to play with because he just like jumps out of his seat when he gets excited about hearing something. You know, oh, what did you stop, Joe? What did you play in there? What did you? Okay, Joe, you play that. And it's exciting because you're just there watching him get excited, and you get excited about what
run
you're
over
doing.
to the keyboard and be like, turn this on.
Yeah. I need this.
Yeah, he was great. And he just sounds like he's from Sweden, so our impression of him sounds like Count Dracula, which is probably way off. The guy's probably insulted. He's watching this and he's like, what? It's not how I sound.
Well, the
Do you guys all
really
end up,
suck.
do you end up all just talking like him while you're recording? Like everybody takes on the
Oh yeah,
accent?
all the time.
So one thing, what's going to be really cool is later on the guys are going to play a few songs for us, which is going to be awesome. And you see there's a keyboard there. Now, Tyler, I know that this is something relatively new, like you've been introducing keyboards into the band. Do you think that that's had something to do to evolve or change your sound?
Yeah, I think I felt stifled. I've been playing guitar since I was a kid, and I felt that for me, there was every riff lick was done. Like I'd pick up the guitar and I'd be like, everything would sound like something that we'd already done. So it's like, so it kind of felt lame to go and just continue to copy ourselves. So it started with a friend of mine. She wanted to vicariously live through me, so she's like, you need to buy a grand piano. And I'm like, wow, where am I going to put it? So I just got one, and I'm like, I got it. And she's like, that's amazing. So then I just learned how to play piano. And then I started writing all the songs on that instead of on the guitar. So that's kind of how it started.
I mean, do you think that it's changed the sound of the band and how you approach music with Tyler on playing keyboards instead of having two guitar players to bounce off of?
I think so, and I think the lyric writing has just skyrocketed, and I think with the music sort of, being a bit simplified, and with the piano too, I think that it allows the lyric and the content of the songs to really shine.
Yeah. So there's a little less tendency to let's get all aggro.
Yeah, just make a lot
you
of
want to let the
noise.
lyrics
Let's get
sort of
3-4 guitars going. Yeah.
There's no overplaying on this record. Everything is kind of simplified to allow those vocals to shine. And I found that what Tyler was saying before with Martin getting so excited, the band used to be very guitar driven, as everybody knows, but this record, it's not like the drums leaded anything, but we added a lot of rhythmic tom type stuff on the record, which I think adds more vibe to Tyler's uplift, to his deep lyrics. So I think that changed everything for all of us.
Yeah, it's the irony is you're playing less and it allows everybody to be heard more.
Yeah,
something like that.
everybody you can
involved.
hear each and every one of us playing on each song now.
One thing that I was reading about that sort of intrigued me is that while you guys were in London, you made a pilgrimage to Abbey Road Studios where the Beatles recorded all of their great songs. What was that like for you?
It was like a spiritual journey. It was amazing.
Yeah, we were talking about Ringo Starr earlier.
Yeah.
And so they did the whole tour with us, and then they took us to the rooms where the Beatles recorded this and that and stuff like that. And took us to the big room where they did all the music for, Star Wars and stuff. And then we went up to this little room where they would do mastering, and the guy actually had this thing where he would cut vinyl.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you want to hear? And I'm like, Day in the Life. He's like, all right. So he puts on, and before he plays it, he tells us the story. At the end of Day in the Life, you can hear whoever it is, John Lennon or someone going, da, on the
I think
piano.
there was like 3 pianos or something.
3 pianos,
Yeah,
right?
there's a bunch of pianos.
And then he cranks it up at the end because it just rings out for like 10, 20 seconds. And he's like, listen. And you hear this, and it's Ringo Starr on his drum throwing,
And you hear a shh.
and you hear someone go, just like they're just all like, huh? And then Ringo Starr, and he just cranked it up so we could hear. We're like, yeah, that's awesome. Drummers, you know, even Ringo Starr, he blew it. So it was definitely magic. It was pretty cool. And then we went back to the studio after, and we're all just like, okay,
Yeah, fully inspired.
And we got
Sgt.
Sgt. Pepper.
Pepper's.
Yeah.
I mean, what does a band like the Beatles mean to you? What does that represent to you guys?
I mean, I grew up with the Beatles. My mom has all the Beatle autographs on her ticket stub from when she went and saw them, I don't know, in Vancouver.
They only came once.
They only came once, yeah. So it was like, I mean, I feel like the Beatles are the best songwriters ever. And it was like, I don't know, for me personally, you just listen to Beatles songs and it's like anything that they've done, and it's like, you can hear it in every other music from then on. So I don't know, but something like the Beatles, they're an untouchable, I think the best band in the world.
Well, we discussed downstairs too that they did from 1964 to 1970. Their discography was so different from when they were the Mop Tops.
Yeah.
I Want to Hold Your Hand to, you know, what was it, Let It Be?
Strawberry Fields.
Strawberry Fields. Yeah, and like even on some Sgt. Pepper stuff and Abbey Road, was it like, I think they're one of their last ones? Yeah, it's completely different. So that's also something that we look at and go, wow, you know what? If the Beatles can look at, like, they have like an arc in their career, why not?
Well, it's interesting because when I was listening to your records, I would hear the evolution, and then I would see some of the fans' comments, and you guys are obviously changing as musician, and I think this record represents a complete new level, another step in your evolution in terms of the arrangements. I mean, you guys will hear it on the 31st, but there's all sorts of really sort of innovative stuff going on here. And it just struck me that, you know, bands were at one point were expected to change. But is it tough for your audience to accept you guys doing something different?
No. All right.
That's good to hear.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know if I feel like it's almost something. Me personally, I just don't worry about anymore, because it's the few people that really want you to be a certain way. I feel like you just can't appease them anyway. Really, like you say, we're growing as people, as musicians, and we keep wanting to challenge ourselves and try new stuff, and we don't want to just keep making the same records the same way we've made them in the past. I think that would get old for us, and you know, it's an exciting job that we have, and we just want to keep making it new and fun for us too.
And so we feel the same way, being music lovers. Like we get it. You know, we discussed how when you hear a song, you fall in love with it. It every time you hear it, it brings you back to that place, right? That moment in time. So you want that band to continue to give you that same.
You want that feeling.
Yeah. So we get it. Like we were discussing Stone Temple Pilots and how the first record, Core, was so heavy and raw, and then Purple was like a little different,
Yeah.
and then they got to Tiny Music, and it was like, what? It was like a Beatles record. It was crazy, and it was actually probably their best record. And they actually play the most songs live off their third record. And you can see when I got to Tiny Music, I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Core.
18-year-old Dave was like,
Core.
what the hell, man?
Yeah. And it's the same. So we get it. We understand. Like, it's same for us, too.
Yeah, but you do run that risk, right? You're a little damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, if you tell the same story over and over again, people are going to get bored eventually, whether they know that or not.
We all would love to see a Step Brothers 2, but I'm telling you, don't do it. You know, suck. Just do it. I just do it.
You're not going to produce, though. You won't produce. You won't help it along.
I'll be there opening night, though.
So, what are some of your guys' favorite moments on this new record? Let's start on that side with Dean.
I don't know. I think one of the famous or favorite moments, I guess, would we had a guest come over, and he's got an unbelievable guitar collection, one of the biggest in the world. And he brought over this Flying V that it's made of Carino wood, and it's valued at over $200,000. And yeah, he brought that, and Dave got to play it. And I'm probably stealing his answer.
You're totally stealing my moment,
Yeah.
dude. It's my favorite moment.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
Drawing board. Over
Yeah.
But I mean, for you personally as a bass player, like, was there a song where you're like, oh, this is...
I got to pull the upright bass out once, and that was a lot of fun.
Have
So
you ever done that before?
No, it was always sitting in the room, and everybody would go up and play on it once in a while because it's just so cool and fun to play. And yeah, one of the moments we got to pull it out.
What song was that on?
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot now. I don't even remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, basically, I'm staying with him, stalling, so the rest of you guys can think of your answers.
Oh, okay. So I get to go first. Yeah, spotlight's on me.
How about you? Like, drum-wise, there's a lot of really cool stuff on the record, really different.
Yeah, so same guy that he was talking about, we went to his house and we did some partying with him and some jamming in his studio and stuff. And he had these old Vista Light drums, like Ludwig Vista Lights, like from like way back. And so I'm like, man, those would be cool to do to use them on the record, right? Let's maybe, because we were into this whole tom thing, right? Very tribal, rhythmic type stuff. And he's like, well, I'll just bring them over. I'll just bring them to the studio. So that's when he brought the guitar. But so he brings these toms in, and then we decided we were going to play together. Which case he wasn't very good. Put it that way.
I think he was nervous.
He's probably watching.
He was nervous.
He was great.
He was good, but he would mess up, and so it was kind of messing me up. So everybody's like, "Who's messing up? Is it him or is it Joe? Like, who's messing?" I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it is me. I don't know who's messing.
No.
So then he kind of fake played the part as we were both playing it, and
Yeah.
Tyler caught him.
Yeah,
And he's
fake
like,
it.
"It was you. You're the one screwing up." So he got So I don't know that his parts made the record, but it was great playing on those drums and just because I know that there's history behind that style of drum when they were made and doing it in London. It had this whole vibe to it, which was really exciting.
Well, just staying with you guys for a second here, the approach to playing rhythm on this record is a bit different than some of your previous records. I mean, they are, whatever you want to call it, more swing or like contemporary sort of hip-hoppy grooves that are on there. I mean, on things like, I'm looking at my notes, Affluenza and Say Nothing. Was that a challenge for you guys? Did you embrace sort of approaching songs in a different way rhythmically than straight ahead, rock 4/4?
Yeah, for me, it was a whole learning curve. Actually, it was Say Nothing was one of the ones that I thought was the hardest. But there was definitely songs that when we were tracking it, I thought some of those parts of my parts were kind of be replaced by samples and whatnot. So I kind of tried to keep it as simple as possible. And I guess maybe that was a happy mistake because the producer's like, that's actually really good. Let's just keep that. I'm like, wow, I did not expect to keep that part. So then it's on the record and it sounds great. But I didn't know it was going to be that way. So yeah, so it was a whole, just a mindset that as soon as I did that, I went, oh, so the rest the whole time was, for me, was thinking in that sense. And it was like exciting the whole way through.
We're like yes men in the studio. We will try anything because I feel like we've done, like we don't have anything to prove. We don't feel like we need to have I have to put a bunch of heavy guitars in a song. It's like we've done it. Now it's like, what can we do here? We all want to think outside of the box, and it's almost more exciting and inspiring. Because instead of going to our defaults, which is, oh, well, let's grab a guitar and do this, it's like, well, what can we do here? What does it need here? What does the song need? It's a different perspective, because you're not saying, what do we all need to do for the song? It's like, well, what does the song need? And let's just do that.
What was fresh for you on the record?
Just what Dean said earlier. No. You know, it's all pretty fresh for me. You know, I get a lot of people asking now. You know, you playing less guitars or something? You know, there's not as much guitar. To me, it feels like the opposite. Like you said, more you hear everything now. I feel like the guitar actually has a voice on the record as opposed to just being the wall of noise that everything lays in, right? So it feels more, for me, it feels more musical to be doing less and playing just the parts that, and then you hear them and the way that they work with everything else. It just, I don't know, it feels more musical.
They have more impact.
Yeah, it's
And more impact.
it's
exactly.
just you, so you can't really blame Tyler for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was different for you?
In the studio, I don't know. I think just the overall vibe of London. I think being in London, I just enjoyed it so much. I could easily live there. I think there was, like, even things like they don't have air conditioning there, so we struggled with that in the beginning.
Well, they don't have
What is
hot
going on?
weather there.
Yeah, what's going on? It was so hot in our house. Remember?
You
It was
enjoyed a
like-
good sweat. That's the.
It was hot in our house because some kind of heat was on,
No, we
and
couldn't
the
figure out.
ghost kept turning it on.
There was a ghost too in our place. There was a ghost, and then we found like a closet full of fans. And we're like, so there's like a fan in every room. And then we found out we couldn't figure out the washer and dryer. And they're like, oh, it's all in one unit. So you wash it and it dries at the same time. We're like, oh
No,
yeah.
no, it doesn't.
No. So everything was soaked. And we're like, we couldn't figure it out. And so Dean actually went and bought.
An error.
And they don't call it
Yeah.
a dryer. They call it an error.
Yeah.
And so
It's
didn't you
the
go
clothes hanger thing.
Didn't
So
you-
I went and bought it.
a clothes horse?
Yeah.
So
okay.
Dean, what was the story? Did you go pick it up
I
and
ordered
you're
it online, and I went to ask for it, and they're like, "Oh, it's an error," and I was so confused. I'm like, "What's the problem?" I'm sorry. It's an error.
An
What's
error
the
with
error?
my transaction?
What's the problem? No, an error. Oh, that's what you call it. Okay.
error?
Yes, it's an error.
But wait a minute. You guys have just done about 3 minutes on the washer and dryer. But he mentioned that he saw a ghost. I don't know. I sort of want to move back to that
Anyways, yeah.
for a second.
What was with the ghost?
Or was it just sheets?
There's a few different things
It
that
was
happened.
shadows
There's a
more,
few,
wasn't it?
there's a few different things. Yeah.
It was
Could
a
have
lot.
been. Could have been.
I hear it's legal in Canada.
I'm not. We were in
Not in London.
I don't really remember. It was a few different things though.
You say you saw someone
Well, I
walking?
saw something go by, and I thought it was you, but you
I
were
wasn't
not
home.
You weren't even there,
And you're just like,
because then yeah.
there was multiple
Like, I
stuff
gotta
going
get more
on.
of this shit.
And I saw something too, like, there's like doors opening and stuff. And I'm like, man, we didn't even care. We're like, come on in, bro.
Yeah, all we watched on TV was Ghost Hunt. What was it, Ghost Hunters?
Ghost
Maybe
Hunters.
That's why we were seeing ghosts.
Ghost Hunters. Amazing. There was, it was so good. That's what
And
it was.
Bigfoot, and some Bigfoot.
Ghost Hunters, Bigfoot, and you smoking dope equals
Great record.
great record.
It's the recipe.
So that's how you guys were inspired by the Beatles.
Yes.
That's it, man.
It's quite the tangent, but we can do that. We're known for that.
Yeah. Jimmy Page had Aleister Crowley. What was his name?
Yes, Aleister Crowley. There we go.
We had Ghost.
So, moving back to the serious nature of your record, sorry about that. But let's talk for a minute about Strangers. This song is basically about the divide that we all feel in culture right now. What was the inspiration for that particular song?
Yeah, so Strangers, you can't escape the news. Everyone knows what's going on right now. So that was the first song written for this new record. So that one has to do with politics in America, how polarized it is and how crazy it's getting. If you're going to be left, you got to be like out the door left. And if you're right, it's almost like a response to the left. So it's getting so crazy. So the song really just encapsulates just America dealing with each other, and now how we look at our neighbors now. We're just strangers, because if your neighbor is a Democrat and you're a Republican or vice versa, it's like you can't be friends. It's getting so insane. So that's what kind of the song's about. And once we got that song down, it was a lot easier to go into everything else. But I had to be very strategic with how the lyrics are written, Try to be unbiased.
I do sort of hear about that, where people will be upset about how polarized the culture is. But it just is complicated because, you know, you have people on one side who think that, you know, Trump is turning the U.S. into an autocracy, and then you have other people who say, oh, he's doing a fine job, you know. There's really very little room for compromise.
Right, but I mean, if we look at everybody in the room right here, like, I mean, we all kind of look the same to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unless you go up and ask what someone's politics is, you know, that's you know what I'm saying?
We can all agree on, we'll just on the 31st go out and buy a theory record.
There you go. If there's one thing we can agree upon.
Do you think that it's presumptuous for a Canadian to be criticizing what's going on in the U.S.?
Well, I mean, 3 of us live in the United States. I've lived in the United States for years, so I've been paying taxes down here. So yeah.
I also think it's not just happening in the U.S. This is happening.
It's also happening.
This is happening in other
Canada,
places too.
That's true.
And I
don't
also think
this
American politics is in some ways more important in Canada than Canadian politics. It seems like it impacts that country just as much as it does here. So.
Yeah, and your cousin I mean, when we were over in London, your cousin lives in London and dealing with Brexit. It seemed like they were saying that what's going on in America is nothing compared to what they're doing is something really. So it doesn't matter where you are. It's, you know, your perspective is the worst, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of really interesting songs and subject matter, but one that caught my attention is the song Ted Bundy. Yeah. So what was it? What did you find when you dove into the mind of a mass murderer?
Well, so it's not really about Ted Bundy. I was just trying to think of the worst possible person ever, someone that would be, I guess, wouldn't have any feelings. So what would it be like to have someone like that and be dating someone like that, in a relationship with someone like that? I'm sure there's people that dated someone where they could probably compare them to someone like Ted Bundy. But so it's interesting, right? Like, but that was a song that when we first released, the label even wanted me to change the name of the song. They're like, well, you should change the name of the song. I'm like, why? They're like, well, people are going to see Ted Bundy, and they're like, why are you talking about a killer and stuff like that? So I always had to try to make clear that it's not glorifying Ted Bundy. But
I feel like the song musically is kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde, which kind of was like Ted Bundy too. He was like this dark demon of a human being, but then he was also like this put on a face, smile, charming guy. And the song Ted Bundy is kind of has this dark, nasty side to it, and then it kicks into the choruses, and it's this really shiny, sort of Sgt. Peppery.
Right, it's like a very major chord.
Yeah, so it's got like this kind of two-face to it. So I kind of felt like there was a couple reasons.
You blew my freaking mind.
Well, I saw one of your interviews, and you were saying that one of your favorite bands was The Doors.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as a songwriter, do you think that, I mean, that obviously interests you to explore sort of the darker side of the human condition, like Jim did, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I never really related to Jim Morrison other than his voice, but I love The Doors. I actually read this great book, and I can't remember what it's called. My doctor, he gave me the book, and he's like, this is my brother. This guy's name's Joe Sugarman. He's like, this is my brother. Why don't you read his book? And he was the manager.
Sugarman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he.
No one gets out alive.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And he managed the Doors and Iggy Pop, and so the book is insane. It's crazy. I mean, nothing compared to what we do today. It's just crazy what they did back then. But yeah, there's definitely. I mean, Jim Morrison was a poet. It's a lot of the stuff he did, like "This Is the End" and "Riders on the Storm." I love that stuff. I always could relate to his voice because it was always so deep and yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to toss it out to you guys if you guys have something on your mind. But to me, this record sort of, I'm not going to say completes a cycle, but I've seen you guys evolve over the last several records. And I was sort of wondering, you changed your name from Theory of a Dead Man to Theory, and I wondered if you guys almost felt that it's appropriate because you're almost a new band in certain ways. I mean, is this a certain way of almost shedding your skin?
I don't think we did it on purpose. I think it's almost like people have come to that conclusion, which makes sense. But it actually stemmed from just getting tired of people not knowing what our band is called. It really, seriously, I would.
What's
like
your band called? Theory of a Dead Man. Theory of a what?
Yeah. Seriously, I'd be like golfing with these dudes, and like, what do you do, Tyler? I playing a band. What's your band called? Theory of a Dead Man. Theory of a what? Like, Theory of a Dead Man. He's like, oh, I'll check you guys out. And then it would be done, and we're like, okay, Tyler, so I'm gonna check your band out. Theory of a Fireman. What?
Fury of the Madman.
Theory of the Madman. You got him. Like, seriously, this happens so much to me.
Time to simplify.
Theory. Just Google Theory. You'll find us. Yeah.
Simple,
That's where it actually came
easy.
from. Yeah.
Yeah, economical.
Simplify. Yeah.
So is there anybody out there that wants to ask guys a question?
Raise your hand. I'm going to come around with a mic here.
Hey guys,
Hi.
you
Hey.
talked about the title of the album, "Say Nothing." When you talk about the song "Say Nothing," kind of seems like it goes back to your typical breakup songs that you had back in the day, like "Say Goodbye." What was the true inspiration behind "Say Nothing"?
So Say Nothing is actually about my divorce and how, ironically, my dad, after he heard the song, he emailed me and said that he went through the exact same problem. We're just having no communication. That was a big reason why we broke up, because I just was unable to communicate. I'd rather just punch a hole in the wall and walk away or slam the door than just say, if I could just say, I'm sorry. If I could just say, what do I got to do to fix this? Here's what it's just ridiculous. And there's probably a lot of guys in this room right now are going, or their girlfriends are going, it's ridiculous. So that's what it's about.
Contrary to popular belief, some women struggle with communication too.
Oh, I disagree, Dave. All women are perfect.
All right, let's take another question. I'm gonna be over here on the side, guys.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Curious, Chris Isaac, Wicked Game you choose to do, which you killed, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
What made you choose it? And part two, who was your first concert you saw and how old?
Chris Isaac. I don't know why we decided to do that one. Do you remember?
Well, you did like 4 covers or something like that in your studio at home. I forget what they were. Major Lazer,
Yeah.
Master Blaster. I don't know. Anyway, you did some covers, but one of them was a cover of Wicked Game that you recorded, and I think we all just loved it so much because we were kind of releasing those things, and we were like, let's not release that. That's really good. And let's save that. Let's bank that. And it kind of got banked, and then when we went to make Wake Up Call in with Martin, we even made it very different from the demo that you had made. And it felt really good because it totally became our own version, and it was very satisfying to hear the final product.
So first concert I ever went to was Ice-T. The Iceberg Tour. I think that was right around like after Colors, the movie came out. Does anybody remember Colors? Colors. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath stalking. Yeah. Something like that. It's great. I actually got punched in the face for the first time at that concert.
2 firsts.
What's that?
Two
firsts.
firsts.
First concert, first punch.
I guess it's the best night ever.
It was amazing.
I saw Ozzy Osbourne as my first concert. It was pretty cool. He played 3 songs and then had an asthma attack and walked off stage. I'm dead serious, and it was funny because it was like Joe Holmes was playing guitar and Mike Borden on drums, and they were jamming for like 5 minutes, and you could see them like talking to the guy on the side stage. Where's Ozzy? And they jammed like 5-7 minutes of just like music, and then finally went up to the mic and was like, Ozzy's had an asthma attack. He's not coming back. And it was Vancouver, so we rioted. End of story.
That's awesome. Vince Gill was my first concert. I don't remember how old I was. I was just extremely young, but I remember it's at the arena back in Winnipeg, Canada. And instead of a kabuki drop, they had a massive garage door, and the door opened, and the lights turned on, and the band started. And I wasn't even a country fan. My parents weren't either. It was just free tickets. And so the door opened, and the band started, and I was so impressed, blown away. And right there, I'm like, that's it. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. No question.
I like to joke that little Joey walked up on stage, found his way to the drum kit.
I took over. Yeah, I was the drummer for the noise game.
It's like, where's Joey?
Mine was Aerosmith on the Get a Grip tour in Vancouver, and sort of similar. Their first song was Eat the Rich, and they had a kabuki drop, and they came out, and you could see the silhouettes of the guys, Steven Tyler dancing and going nuts, and then the song kicked in, kabuki dropped, and I was hooked. I'm like, when's the next concert? I don't care who it is. I gotta go to another rock concert. Yeah, and that was in '94, so I was probably 17, something like that.
Now you know why there's so many influences on our record here. Run the gambit there, of musical styles.
They call me the Ice. The Iceberg. That was the song.
Good to do one more, Laura?
One more quick one.
One more.
Quick.
Then
What's
let's
the
hear
ratio?
these guys play.
Hi guys, I love
Hi.
you. I'll see you in Jersey
Hi.
soon.
Sweet.
Can't wait.
And my question is, the ratio, what's easier to come? The lyrics first or the sound first?
Lyrics, 100%. Yeah, lyrics. It used to be music. We used to like have songs where it was just, I think
you
just
have to figure out what to sing over.
yeah, and I'm like,
after.
all right, I got some work to do. But now it's all lyrics. The lyrics first, and then yeah, he can work on all that stuff later.
Okay, well, guys, thank you for your great questions. We're going to take a short break and get the guys set up, and they're going to come back and play some new music off the new record. You're going to be the first to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
One of the songs, I think you guys said, it's the first time that you've played it in front of an audience.
It'll be the first time ever. That's right. You guys will
Yeah,
be the first to hear it.
Amazing.
So
Okay.
be forgiving.
So Say Nothing, January 31st, coming out, and we'll in a bit.
Yeah, it just numbs the brain. Guess you might say I'm a little intense. I'm on the bright side of being hell-bent. So, take it from me, you're not the only one who can't see straight. If you were ever in doubt, don't sell yourself short. You might be bulletproof. Hard to move mountains when you're paralyzed, but you gotta try. And I'm calling out, get up, get up, get up, move on. Get up, what's taking so long? Get up, get up, get up, move on. Stop stalling, I'm calling out. Get up, get up, get up, move on. Get up, ain't nothing wrong. 'Cause I believe you can be whatever. And I agree
Happy birthday.
It's not. Oh, there we go. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to hear some new music? Theory of Dead Man from Say Nothing. It's out January 31st. Remember, that's how you're going to repair the world, how we're all going to unite. Take it away, guys.
The city's on fire, the streets are a riot. Now look at this place, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. So beautiful, she knew it every single day. Got mad at her left and right around the way. Yeah, it makes you feel good, wonder why she stays. So afraid of you. She need to set it to get her straight. All she need to say to her that she got the shades. Put them sunglasses on her face. Such a waste on you. Well, tell me why you ashamed, too scared to run away. You love him anyway, surviving just on the bay. The city's on fire, the streets are a riot. Now look at this place, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. Oh, look what you started, it's the history of violence. Now look at your face, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. Maybe the way out is a 38, God gave her a sign on a moment late. Tonight she's gonna point it at his face. Bam, bam, he's blown away. Well, tell me why you ashamed, too scared to run away. You love him anyway, surviving just on the pain. So tell me where she went wrong. She hears sadness in every song. She knows someday that she'll be gone. Until then, please stay strong. The city's on fire, the streets are a riot. Now look at this place, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. Oh, look what you started, it's the history of violence. Now look at your face, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. Still in shock from them last year, the neighbor said it. No one ever crossed her mind that it wasn't worth it. No regrets from what the judge calls a bad decision. Now she's doing 20 years in a women's prison. Yeah, she never ever loved for she feel it all. Never know what it's like not to feel alone. No kids, never love her unconditional. No cure for a sickness that's been medicinal. She's flying high in her cell, she can finally breathe. She flying high out of hell, now she finally free. Manifested to the lions, that monster he promised her diamonds for silence. It's the history of violence. The city's on fire, the streets are a riot. Now look at this place, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. Oh, look what you started, it's the history of violence. Now look at your face, no one is safe, no one is safe from you. Now look at your face,
Thank you. Good night. We're actually opening tonight. Right? We're opening tonight. There's a band on after us. Assuming they're amazing.
They look good.
You ready?
Let's try it.
Dark side of the city, sirens of the stereo. Dark side of the city, and looking we go, and looking we go. Don't let it get you down, no. Getting more than we can handle. Live a dangerous scandal. No love, no. No love, no. Kids afraid of being shot up. Shooter, drizzle, and the brother. With vegans at us, we all stand up. We copy yes, though. No love, no. Left wing and right wing, the flex in the fight. Afraid to speak out when we know this ain't right. Our thoughts and our prayers, they don't help if we die trying to change it. We all living like strangers. We ain't living like neighbors no more. No love, only anger. And low can we go, and low can we go. Oh, oh, ah. Low, oh, oh, ah. Low, oh, oh, ah. And low can we go, and low can we go. The ups and downs, now the future. Friends are alive, but then they use you. Social media don't choose you. You're just a shadow. It's a shadow. Money and greed don't get you what you want. It's beating us down, we don't want it to stop. Out here just spilling our blood for the top. But we about to feel the drop. We all living like strangers. We ain't living like neighbors no more. No love, only anger. And low can we go, and low can we go. Oh, oh, ah. Low, oh, oh, ah. Low, oh, oh, ah. And low can we go, and low can we go. Instead of trying to forget, we all got something to prove. Instead of fighting to win, we out here choosing to lose. Instead of teaching for war, we out here telling for war. Instead of setting hopes high, we got our face to the floor. Instead of speaking our mind, we ain't got nothing to say. Instead of showing some love, we got a heart full of hate. Instead of breaking from lies, we out here bending the truth. Instead of fists in the air, we got a Nazi salute. What more can I really do? It's on and on and on. Wouldn't expect me to put up a fight. We just strangers after all, right? Living like strangers. We ain't living like neighbors no more. No love, only anger. And low can we go, and low can we go. Oh, oh, ah. Low, oh, ah. Low, oh, ah. And low can we go, and low can we go. Oh, ah. Low, oh, ah. Low, oh, ah. And low can we go, and low can we go. Hey!
Hey.
That's a first. We've never played that before, so
That's true.
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's the first time we ever played. And actually, this next one we haven't ever played in front of people either. Well, we did it yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah, we did.
But not in front of an audience. Only you guys matter. That's it.
This is the first time we've played this in front of this audience.
What a terrible. That was like a dad joke.
But it was a
Nothing wrong
win.
with dad jokes.
It was a win.
Because dad jokes are the best. Let's do another one on the record. Yeah, let's do it. You want to do it? This one's called World Keeps Spinning. Here we go.
Yes, my friend.
Why I always gotta be afraid? Yeah, I'm sick of all the stomach aches. Always dizzy, haven't eaten nothing. Always sleeping, haven't seen nobody. Out here living in the Wild West. A lack of confidence is when I'm at my best. Just a burner trying to fade away. Like a moth drawn to the flame. They talking shit ain't quick enough to block a no. I'm getting it falling down, so I'm staying low. I feed this all for nothing, I'm feeding all alone. That voice is saying something, they're saying welcome home. I miss my mom, I miss my friends, I miss it all, but in the end, whoa, the world keeps spinning, whoa, the world keeps spinning. I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling dead, I feel this all maybe in my head. Whoa, the world keeps spinning, whoa, the world keeps spinning. Body's aching from all the stress. Yeah, I'm dead inside my skin a mess. One-on-one, I can hold my own, but I'm out here fighting like I'm Al Capone. Gonna sell it like it's in the days. My mama telling me it's just a phase. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean shit to you. I mean as human being, I ain't a human being. I miss my mom, I miss my friends, I miss it all, but in the end, whoa, the world keeps spinning, whoa, the world keeps spinning. I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling dead, I feel it's all maybe in my head. Whoa, the world keeps spinning, whoa, the world keeps spinning. Floating through life like a ghost. I ain't stupid, I can be who I wanna be. I ain't blind, I can see what you're doing to me. This old planet acting all the same. I feel that no one got a freaking brain. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey me, monkey you. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey me, monkey you. I miss my mom, I miss my friends, I miss it all, but in the end, whoa, the world keeps spinning, whoa, the world keeps spinning. I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling dead, I feel this all maybe in my head. Whoa, the world keeps spinning, whoa, the world keeps spinning.
Thank you.
Come on, let's hear it. That's not good enough. That's not good. Do you think I should try to get these guys to do one more song? I think they gotta get at least another one out of them.
Well, let's find out what time our dinner reservation is. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool.
I can do this one. No, I can't. I guess I can't. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do something. Let's do, you know what? Let's do something.
Let's go way back.
Let's go way back, man. Tell you what, you know what? Let's
go back as far as my memory can go.
Let's go back as far as sound check.
Let's try it.
Let's do it.
to a cloudy day. Dark rolls in and it starts to rain. Staring out to the gates like walls. Time goes by and the shadows crawl. Rushing candy, crushing pills. Got no job, mom pays my bills. Next to Nexus, get my thrills. Sweating borders, Netflix chills. World's out there singing the blues. 20 more dead in the evening news. Think to myself, but he wants to use. I'm just like you, I was born to lose. Why, oh why can't you just fix me when all I want's to feel numb, but the medication's all gone? Why, oh why does God hate me when all I want's to get high and forget this so-called life? I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. Can't wait to feel better than ever. Will attack that like a kid on Benadryl. Chicks it down with a hopeful smile. Hate myself, I can go for miles. They say family's all you need. Someone to trust can help you breathe. Inhale that truck, but you start to choke. You fall on the ounce of an inside joke. Why, oh why can't you just fix me when all I want's to feel numb, but the medication's all gone? Why, oh why does God hate me? 'Cause I've seen enough of it, heard enough of it, felt enough of it, had enough of it. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. Medicate, medicate. Superman is a hero, but only when his mind is clear though. He needs that fix like the rest of us, so he's got no fear when he saves that bus. All the stars in the Hollywood hills, Snapchat live with the popping pills, all those flavors of the rainbow. Your friends are right now, your bills are right now, that chicks are right now, that cop is right now, the president's right now, your priestess are right now, everyone's right now, and no one's ever coming down. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. Medicate.
Let's hear it. Dave, Dean, Joey, Tyler, all right. Say Nothing, out
Thank you.
January 31st. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks,
Really
man.
appreciate it.